Hold on to your mug. We're in for a wild night.
Greeting, traveler.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Born to be Wild, a Wild exclusive Hearthstone podcast where we have a good time hanging out with friends, talking about the Wild format of Hearthstone and spotlighting members of the Wild community. I'm your host, as always, Nate Wolf. Good to be back after kind of a long holiday here, and of course joined by two of my favorite people. Mike Lowe, how you doing tonight?
Yo, what's up, man? New year.
Star Gamer over here.
Same old me. Same old bully. How's it going?
Good. And Hydralisk, welcome back.
Yes, thank you. I feel like it's been forever. It hasn't really been that long, but it does feel like it's been a while. So I'm super stoked to be back.
Yeah, it was a little funky because we didn't record live last week. I think it was a few days before. And so it's been closer to 2 weeks, I guess, sort of. I feel like I'm in like holiday hangover mode. But anyways, it's really good to be back. Excited to do another show tonight. And we've got a special guest joining us tonight. So I'd like to give a warm welcome to Wild Legendary Hearthstone player and streamer. Welcome to the show, Glare. How are you doing tonight?
Good, man. It's good to be here. Thanks for the warm welcome, and really excited to check this cool little space you guys have here out. I've been sort of following the podcast weekly for maybe a month, 3 weeks, and being able to hang out and follow what you guys do, and then have the opportunity to jump in and really take part in what's going on here is really a cool opportunity. I think it shows how cool being a Wild player is, right? We don't always, maybe in Standard, as Hearthstone players, have the chance to, and I don't know if you guys play Hearthstone in Standard, but in Wild, it's such a small, close-knit community among, the people in Legend rank anyway, that are like really invested in Wild, where we can kind of create a space like this. And I know people who have been on this show, not personally, but through my friends list. I know, and it's just a really cool opportunity, and I'm grateful to be here. So that's where it's coming from for me at this point.
Very cool. Happy to have you.
Yeah, we're very stoked to have you on the show. We're
seriously
excited. So.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Hey, so for those people who aren't as familiar with you, could you do us the favor of giving a brief introduction? I mean, who are you? How long you've been playing Hearthstone and that sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would just say I'm a big fan of Hearthstone. I play about 8 hours a day most days currently. I know, right?
That's a big fan.
I am 155 on the Battle Pass. I do have the 20% like bonus XP, so I'm getting more XP than maybe somebody who's trying to free to play the game.
How much gold you got?
I have right now. Let me look. I have 12,950, so 12,950. And that's about 9,000 of that came since the Battle Pass. Just grinding away, playing 8 hours a day. It just kind of comes naturally, which it's kind of amazing actually when you think about it, man. Because I've been playing 8 hours a day, sometimes more, for about a month and a half now, and I'm only 150 in the Battle Pass. Right? Like, you think how much it's going to take for somebody who doesn't play that much to hit even 100, and it kind of blows my mind.
350 is the max, right?
Yeah, 350 is the new max. It's 150, and now I'm sort of like in this new mode where it's a good system, I think, when it comes back to, if I can like detour to this for a second, I like the Battle Pass. I think it's unfortunate that it kind of monetizes the game in another way, but at the same time, I think it's a good opportunity for people who are going to pay for the game to min-max the game, right? So if you're going to be playing a lot, like for me personally, I get a whole lot out of it, right? It's another way of enjoying the game through like the achievement stuff. It got me to build a really cool big paladin that I was messing around with that was like really, really fun at the end of the month, maybe a month and a couple of days ago at this point, where I knew I wasn't going to be like super high legend going into December of 2020. And I had this idea that I wanted to build as many old gods as I could into Paladin, right? And I did it. And it was super fun. And I had like a 50% win rate. And it was maybe the most fun I've had like in a while playing Hearthstone. I had, Paladin Nozdormu to get to 10 mana crystals fast. I had N'Zoth with like New Zoth, the new one. And I think I had old N'Zoth as well. I had both Yogg-Sarongs, and I had Yasiraj and some extra like burn potential with the 4 mana 3/4 that deals 4 or heals you for 4. Circus Medic, I think.
No,
so it's that kind of thing. It's that kind of thing that just you can kind of end up getting sidetracked from the game, which is like a really cool opportunity. Obviously, playing 8 to 10 hours a day, it gets stale occasionally. I know that's a problem we're having as a Wild community right now. I think most people, even the Secret Mages, can agree that Secret Mage is too prevalent. I know I played a lot of Secret Mage last month, and that mirror is fun, but it's only fun for maybe an hour or 2 a day when I'm playing against it.
I played it all.
It's a bit too much.
Every time, I didn't even want to queue it. I was just doing it because I was ranking up.
Same.
But
just flat out.
It gets a little stale, obviously. But so, how did you end up getting into the game?
So, I was introduced to it by my brother. I was trying to get him to join us on the podcast. I don't know if Nate was telling you guys, but he is on a weird schedule from the holidays, I think, and also not really as involved in like Wild constructed Hearthstone right now as he is in Battlegrounds. I mean, that's his like main Hearthstone format right now, and then he plays Fortnite on the side. But he helps me build my decks a lot of the time. This one here is a Glare special, but Tempo has been really instrumental in getting me into the game, getting me better at the game. He played Magic as a kid for a lot of years, so he really understands card games and understands how to make decks, and he's just been a really cool influence on me and my like growth as a Hearthstone player. So it started out as a social thing, right? It started out I wanted to connect to my brother, and I ended up really liking the game. And then when coronavirus came this year, that's really what got me to play, 8-10 hours a day. Is that with the coronavirus and not having as many social outlets, I really wanted to have something I could do where, it feels like it means something, right? That we're here talking about Hearthstone. Like, it's not just a game. It's kind of like a social connectivity among the four of us. I mean, we're random people that would never have met each other otherwise, most likely. So I think that's really cool. And I seek that out quite a bit. It's why I picked up streaming as well. Just to connect the people in my friends list in like a space that isn't strictly Hearthstone. Like, I've played some guitar on my channel. I just kind of hang out sometimes and talk to people. I try to keep it real positive. So like I have been known to have to like ban people who aren't not even. It's interesting, right? Because I want the space to be so positive that I wouldn't have to ban someone. Like, they would just naturally kind of understand that the space is a positive space to experience like Hearthstone and the positivity that I think can come with a game as cool as Hearthstone. But to answer your question more directly, which I believe was, how did I get into Hearthstone? It was my brother, coronavirus, and I think I've gotten decently good at it. So it's kind of reinforcing itself, right? Like I've gotten to a place where I'm getting to Diamond 5 anyway on day one with an off meta, like even Warlock that I made myself. So and that feels pretty good. I mean, it's like a not a pride thing exactly, but I'm proud that I did that, if that makes sense.
You haven't been playing all that long, right?
I've been playing seriously since March, and I hit Legend for the first time in May or maybe late April.
Wow!
But I started hitting Legend like early in the month, about 4 months ago.
Yeah, see, that's impressive. I mean, gosh, I have been playing for I don't, at least a year, almost 2 years before I hit Legend, I think. I mean, I wasn't playing 8 hours a day, but
it was
That might help.
It was a different ranked system too. I know that when I was playing the ranked system before, I only got to rank 13 because I was in college and working on the side, so I would fit in games when I could and play when I could as a social thing with my brother mainly. But I didn't have enough time to hit like the high ranks, right? Which was fine. It was what I was looking for. I'm sure there are people in our chat right now who play with the intention of doing well and having fun and never get to Legend, maybe not even Diamond 5, and that's completely fine, right? If you have a different goal from me, I absolutely respect that. For me, it's like I said, I want to be as good as I can be, which is not necessarily the best, but pretty good. I mean, I would hope playing 8 to 10 hours a day that I would be able to pick up on some higher level stuff, right? But then to have fun doing it, to help other people in the community have fun doing it, and to sort of like spread what my brother gave me, right? Which is like a game that I can take to a level that it's like kind of part of a lifestyle, right? Where I mean, maybe not encourage people to play 8 to 10 hours a day. Like it's good to have a life besides Hearthstone, but maybe encourage people to learn a new thing, right? Whether it's an aspect of Hearthstone that maybe they didn't realize was a thing, or an aspect of life that they maybe didn't realize was a thing. I tend to go philosophical sometimes, and a lot of my thought process about life is wrapped up in Hearthstone right now, right? Because I play so much. So I'll tend to philosophize stuff while I'm playing and talking through like my plays on my chat anyway.
So since you only started recently taking it seriously, did you have much of a collection before you started taking it seriously earlier in the year, or have you had to build it since then?
I had to buy the cards for some of the older sets. I don't have the full older sets, and that's unfortunate, right? Because I'd like to be able to flex like golden cards, but at this point, I just kind of have the cards that I need and then don't disenchant, because I'd eventually, I think, like to have a fully completed collection, if not a fully completed gold collection. So it just doesn't make sense for me right now to burn cards. It does kind of feel bad that you almost have to pay into Wild, though. I don't know if you guys agree with that. I don't know what your status is as far as like completing your collections or not.
Like,
but
personally, I feel that yes, you do kind of have to buy your way into Wild, depending on how fast you want to get in, right? Because I mostly have a completed collection. I'm only missing maybe like 50 cards out of the whole thing on NA. But for like from the free to play aspect, I've been able to on EU and Asia build collections where I have meta decks like on those accounts, and it takes a while.
Yeah,
but you definitely can do it. Like it is a thing to be able to do it. It's not super
Absolutely,
easy, but like you can start off with your Pirate Warriors and you get your Baku and your Gen, so you can do odd and even, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah,
and then eventually you get there. But
I've seen my brother actually do that on Asia and on Europe. He has gone pretty much free to play over there, just as a challenge, and does exactly what you were saying, where you get Baku Gen, and like before it was nerfed Voracious Reader. Even now you might want that card, but that you can go through it from like a perspective of, I'm going to try to spend as little money on this game as I can. For me, I think of it like I spend about $100 a month on Hearthstone, just buying packs, and then with the Battle Pass, $20 extra. I do play a lot of Battleground, so I have the 4 choices on the heroes for that. And then on Europe, I have spent $25 on my account, and on Asia, I've spent nothing. And so, for me, I compare it to like going to the movies, right? I mean, obviously, it's an investment into one movie, it goes on and on and on and on, and maybe you don't need to spend as much on the movie as I'm choosing to, but 100 divided by, I mean, it's like $1 an hour, maybe less.
Yeah.
For what I'm paying into Hearthstone. So I justify it, I guess, to myself, is really what it is. But when you come down to the reality of it, if you're spending less time, maybe spend less money. If you're spending more time and you can, spend more money, right? I mean, it's not like Blizzard needs the money necessarily, but it's nice. I've been blessed that I have the opportunity to spend money into it, and that I can go from having like almost no cards to having, I mean, all of the classic set completed, have like 2 or 3 of the older sets completed. When the new sets come out, I tend to buy into those completely. And so I have, I think all of standard except for maybe 2 cards completed. Pretty sure.
Okay.
And they'd be older sets too, like Rise of Shadows, or I think it's Doom that's in standard still. I don't know because I don't play standard as much, like what the rotations are, so I don't think about it. But
it's funny how you forget the names of the standard expansions, because I used to always know exactly what standard expansions were, and eventually I just forgot because, I mean, I barely touched the format.
Yep.
Hey, quick one for Hydra. You said that you said it takes a while to collect when you play free to play. Would you mind giving me some detail, like how long a while would be? Are we talking like a month, 2 months, 6 months? Should I plan for the long road?
Excuse me. Sorry.
No, you got to plan for the long road. Like basically, my EU account, I believe, is 3 years old at this point, and on there I have like Quest Mage, Secret Mage. I did have. See, I went on Mage at first. I had the Tempo Mage that got nerfed because they got rid of Mana Worm. That bummed me out at the time.
Worm.
But and then so I have, like even Shaman. I've got, your typical Pirate Warrior, your Aggro Druid, Odd Paladin. Like I have got basically anything that you want. Like I don't have Reno decks. That's the one thing is I don't have, because that's expensive. Right. Yep. So things that are like singleton decks, those tend to cost a lot more. But I started off just having maybe 2 or 3 of those decks. Or what was your favorite? Your Mech Pally. I built the Mech Pally. That didn't cost very much, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so that kind of stuff. Yeah, maybe it took me at least a year to probably have a decent collection of a bunch of stuff, but you can build a deck or 2 in a couple months to have something that's going to work in the meta. But yeah, if you want to end up having...
I respect that, because I can confidently say, like, there are people like you that this is built for, but like I can only play like casual games like on like my Nintendo Switch. I couldn't play like other accounts and like wait that long to like get a collection. It would kill me. So props to you and people like you.
It was over boredom, to be honest. being bored of the rank I was at on my main account is the only reason I did it.
That's so cool though that you had like the tenacity to stick it out for 2 to 3 years. Like that's a long time to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I can relate. Like I think I probably spent $100 before I spent $100 a month. My collection was very small when I started in 2016. Like I picked the game up for the first time in 2016, but I didn't like seriously play for 3-4 years. I think it was June or July of 2016 on like a vacation, and we were just hanging out. My brother was like, "Hey, there's this fun game that came out relatively recently at that point." It was Hearthstone, and he showed me Hunter and said, "Play this until you understand the game." And he told me that Hunter is pretty easy. You just push the button, and I did that, and it was fun.
There's this fun game.
and then I'm an aggro player now.
That's so funny because that's what I got my son to play. Is Hunter.
Yep. That's how to do it if someone's not a card game player, man. I had no idea how to play card games, like beyond, I don't know what, War, with like a deck of cards.
Oh my god!
Like I'd never played cards. I hadn't even ever played
Poker?
like spades before. A little bit of poker, yeah. Like
Okay.
I don't even know what they're called, but like stud. I think I played a couple of rounds of that with friends and stuff before I played Hearthstone. But I had never played something that was a strategy game, right? Where like poker can be a strategy game, but it's really like, can you bluff well? Where sure, Hearthstone is that as well.
That's the beauty in it.
So much more as well. Yeah, I like poker a lot.
Oh, but see, no. There's no more bluffing in Hearthstone because people. Well, I do, but people don't play Ice Block and Secret Mage, so you just go face.
Yeah. Well, no. The bluffs would be like hand reading bluffs, I guess. Right.
Well, there's little things, like when I've got, 2 copies of the same card, one that's in the middle of my hand and one that I just top decked. And of course I'm going to play the one that I top decked, so they get all mad that like, oh, you just drew into the perfect answer, right? It's like your psychological warfare.
It's not the same as poker, but it's something, right?
No, but there's
not just jamming the cards.
There's little things. Hey, quick question for you. How did you come up with your username, Glare? Where does that come from?
Oh, I play a lot of Dark Glare. I've played about 1,500. Sorry, I say played. I've won 1,500 games with Dark Glare.
One?
Yeah, I have 1,450 wins with Warlock, and I had less than 100 wins with Warlock before Dark Glare came out. And I don't play other Warlock decks.
I believe it.
Except for like today, I played about 40 games with this deck that I wanted to like take to the show. But 8 to 10 hours. I played a little bit when it was like super OP because it was just what you had to do. But I was actually countering it with a Reno Priest for a while that had Mind Blast in it, and not just like demolished people. I got to rank 88 from 1,700 in 36 hours, which is my biggest climb ever.
Nice.
It was super fun because it was just everybody was playing Glare, and I had the capacity to just mulligan for.
Oh, that's smart.
Thing that blocked them, right? A buddy in my list was like, "You should do this," and then I was like, "That makes a lot of sense," and I won a lot of games, and I learned a lot too because I had never done the Reno Priest mirrors before. It was like I didn't have the cards, and then I was looking at it, and I was missing like Raza and something, and I crafted Raza and maybe Spawn of Shadows, and had the current metal list for Reno Priest like back 2 months ago or whatever, whenever it was, and so I like learned Reno Priest playing in a Dark Glare meta, and that was like super rewarding because Reno Priest at that point was teching Wave of Apathy and Mind Blast if you knew to do it against Dark Glare, and that was like a super easy matchup because of that, unless you were at like high level maybe and people were just avoiding. If you went down to 6, I couldn't do anything about it. But for the most part, it was just free wins against Dark Glare, and then I had to kind of learn the mirror matchup with Reno Priest, which I think made me a better player.
Almost definitely.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough matchup, right? Because it's all like knowing what your opponent can have and knowing the deck and knowing based on like. If you played X card, that means he's running this person's version. But if you played another card, it means they might be running their own version. Or
and then if they played, they played Raza, you didn't get Raza. Maybe you got to play Seance, and then you can get ahead because you got Anduin. They didn't get Anduin. Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
No, absolutely, man. Am I going to need? I guess I'm thinking like, am I going to need? In that particular case, am I going to need Seance later? Is Seance more valuable now on Raza, or am I going to draw into my Raza and I'm going to need a Reno duplicated or to duplicate Spawn of Shadows, which is probably more likely what I would do. But like when to use the cards that you have, right? Available to you, and like managing resources is really, really important with Raza, obviously, and then much less important with Face Hunter, which is what I was like born and raised to play. So it really got me to understand how the higher level players are playing. Yeah. And that was, I think, the first month that I hit Legend, like early in the month, was that month. I think I was playing Dark Glare and then got kind of sick of Dark Glare because wasn't amazing at it. I'm still not very good at it, considering how many games I have. Like people like Lasagna and Maxi that I've talked to are like just incredibly good at it, where like they just intuitively do the math and don't have to think as much about the turns as me. So they probably have more math experience in their past than I do. I don't know what it is. Maybe they're just smarter than me. It might be that I am not learning from my games. It could also be that I had Zephyrs in my deck for about 200 games and was trying to have fun while playing Dark Lair. So I don't know.
You can't have fun. No.
Those two in particular, though, Maxi and Lasagna, I've had particularly interactions with Maxi, and I have a lot of respect for the way that they play. It's just very clean, and the decks that they build are very, very clean. So that's another really cool thing about Wild too, is people like, and who knows if maybe somebody else who's anonymous came up with those lists and they just ended up playing them. But it seems like people are pretty honest about who's making the lists, right? So you can kind of tell, for the most part, maybe where lists are coming from, and people tend to get credit for what's being made, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, I feel like there's not a whole lot of innovation. I mean, there's pretty much, for a lot of these decks, there's kind of a core list, and then people will, change a small handful of cards, and now it's my deck, and then it's your deck, I think that there's still some undiscovered gems just waiting out there to...
I'm hoping so.
There's got to be some innovation.
It took people a while to find Dark Lair. It's the only one that I really know the story of, right? But it was an Outland card and then a Skullman's deck, but it took like a week before everybody was playing it. So
before we go too much further, I want to take a real quick break just to say thank you to the patrons of our show. We really appreciate your support, and I just wanted to give a quick special shout out, particularly to Shokunin and Pug Ugly, who are the executive producers of our show, and also to our patrons, Adam W, Claudette G, Daniel B, and we got a new patron last week, Justin M. Thank you guys so much for your support. It really means a lot. So just we appreciate everything that you do for us. If anybody who is watching or listening is interested in supporting the show financially, you can visit our website at borntobewildhs.com. If you click the Find Us page, there's a link to our Patreon. Every little bit helps, even if it's $1 per month. We really appreciate it. Alternatively, a different way to support would be by purchasing any of the Born to Be Wild merch. We've got hats and shirts and hoodies of all different shapes and sizes. They turned out really good. And a big thank you to Wildcard and his wife for putting together the shop for us. If anybody's interested in supporting the show in a non-monetary way, just a couple really simple but effective things that you can do. If you go to our YouTube and like and subscribe, that really helps. Or if you go to iTunes and leave us a review, that would be super awesome. Anyways, thank you, everybody. And then one other thing that we like to do at the beginning of the show before we get too much into the meat of things is to do a quick shout out and congratulate any new first-time Wild Legend players. It's always really cool, really special to hit Legend for the first time, especially for the first time. And so we kind of wanted to share the love. We had 3 people over the past week. So the first up we have, I'm probably going to mispronounce these names, so I apologize in advance. But Yashazine says, after 3 years, I finally did it. Climbed all the way with Reno LPG Mage, so the climb was pretty slow. Thank you. Get me out with EK and Fire Paladin. Your decks inspired me to do this. That's super cool. So especially going all the way to Legend with Luna Pocket Galaxy Mage is that's quite a feat right there.
Very impressive,
especially after the nerfs.
Very, very impressive. Yeah.
So
that's a deck that takes time to play, for one thing, right? So
patience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And then the next one up, we got a DM from I don't know if it's Yevon. Antoine, thanks. Your great show motivated me to get first-time Legend in Wild this month. I did it from Bronze in about 5 days with X7 bonus, which doing it without the bonus stars really is a grind. And so big props to that, and we appreciate the message. It's really nice to hear. So
That's
congratulations. Awesome. Yeah, that's super cool.
We motivated somebody to play into Legend with 7-star bonus.
Yeah, isn't that rad?
Wow.
That's super dope, guys.
Wow.
The other one that I've got this week, which is kind of funny, is my kid brother, Alex, hit Legend over the last week with Secret Mage. He's never done it before. He's been playing longer than me and just was a lot more casual about it. He was the one that got me into the game. We play a lot of Battlegrounds together. Saw me playing like kind of over Christmas, decided he wanted to do it. It was probably around the same thing. I'm not sure how many bonus stars, but he hasn't, played in months. So he started from bronze 10. Went from bronze 10 to legend in one day.
Whoa.
playing Secret Mage.
That's awesome.
That's so dope.
Good for him.
So he texted me. I was like, holy cow, in one day you did this? And I get it. I see you've got 10 stars, you've got 11 stars. Like, you can do it. And even then it's a grind. But and he's was probably your like 7-star, 5-star. Like, he hasn't played it in months. So it was pretty funny. But anyways, congrats, Alex and everybody else.
Congrats.
Super that's cool. Awesome. All right, so we'd like to check in with everybody, just see how everybody's been doing, what you've been up to. It's been a little bit, so maybe we'll start off with Glare. How have you been doing? What have you been up to this week?
I could rewind the tape and just say everything I've already said. It's been Hearthstone and Hearthstone and Hearthstone. Actually, an interesting thing that I ended up doing was I'm a former smoker, right? I used to smoke cigarettes, and I was helping a friend try to quit. I don't know if it worked, but I was talking him through the first phase of the process of quitting cigarettes, and that was something that he was really struggling with, wanting to quit over the holidays for a New Year's resolution, but something he really needed to do for himself. And we kind of helped him. Me and him worked together with his girlfriend at the time, and we were working through sort of trying to get the epiphany that he had that cigarettes aren't for him to stick. And I don't know if it has or not, but that was a really, really cool experience for me, having that experience that was really negative in my life, right? I smoked for 3 years, and I really wish every day that I was doing it, I wished that I hadn't done it. And now that I've quit, I wish that I had never started. And being able to take that and turn it into I can help this person who's going through a rough spot in their life with an aspect of that was really, really nice.
Must be a nice feeling.
Yeah, it was actually somebody in the Hearthstone community. I'm not going to obviously name names, but it was a really cool opportunity to be a positive support for somebody who's part of this community that I really enjoyed being part of.
Nice.
That's very
cool. Besides
cool.
That, just a ton of holiday stuff, and I did a fair bit of cooking for the family.
Nice.
I'm living with my grandparents right now, and I made corned beef hash and just threw together some odd recipes that I found online, and we had meals almost every day throughout the holidays. It's really nice. I mean, obviously we were eating every day, but prepared nice sit down meals a couple of times, and it was real nice.
Cool.
Besides that, it's just been trying to find the deck that was going to get me to high legend, and it wasn't Egg Hunter. It wasn't even Reno Hunter. I really try to push the archetypes that can't work at the end of the month, which is why I without fail go from being able to be on the leaderboard if I wanted to being 3 or 4K every month in the last 5 days. Cause it's not that I give up, but I decide that it's not worth it. I'm it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. And then eventually it's not worth it. Right. To get the 11 stars, which is a drag. Cause then it's today, and Diamond 5, I'd probably be legend already if I had the 2 times 11 times bonus. Then 2 times at 5, but it's fine. I mean, like you said, your brother, did it with 7 stars from bronze, or no, that was the other guy.
Your
brother did it with some small number of stars, right? So it's an impressive thing to do it with that.
It can be done,
and it's a grind, like you were saying, at any rank, which is reflected in the fact that I'm at this point trying to find decks that are fun, right? Because I don't feel like it's as important to me to be like super high legend as it is to be enjoying the game and learning the game. I think the best way to do that, I've played a fair amount of Arena, and that really helped me build my deck building skills. And so I now can take those skills that I learned in Arena, that I learned playing Hunter, that I learned playing a lot of Reno, Priest in particular, and transform that into building like other Reno decks, right? Like I know that obviously Zephyrs goes in every Reno deck, but I know that sometimes you might be tempted, if you don't know better, to put Alexstrasza in a Reno deck. Most of the time that's the wrong choice, especially since the nerf. Or a series of nerfs. I mean, there's stuff that I know from just being in the community that might seem obvious to us that maybe somebody else wouldn't know. But yeah, I mean, it's like the skills transfer over, man. You know, like I played a fair amount of Arena. I've played a little bit of duels. I got my first 12 wins in duels, actually.
Nice.
Nice.
I had never gotten it in Arena, even though I played like 1,500 games of Arena, just because I never understood how to play Arena to the extent that like I needed to. I think like I figured out how to build the decks just from experience, but it was hard for me to get to 12. Like I would get to 10 or 11 and then sort of fall off. And yeah, I actually got 2 out of the 6 heroic duels that I've ever done. I got 12 wins.
Nice.
I mean, to be fair, it was with the broken classes, but I felt pretty cool about that, and that's something that I didn't anticipate happening, right? And then I mean, part of it you get lucky if you're playing duels. I mean, there's certainly that aspect of it with the treasures and all that. Yeah, that was really cool. So I did that about a month ago. Felt really nice.
Well,
it's almost a break.
So yeah. That's really cool. I'm glad you had a good time off, family, helped your buddy out, played some games. How about you, Mike? Great. What have you been up to? I think you've got a bit of a story, right?
Yeah, but how do you follow a week like that? So it's been great. We had a New Year's last night. It was cool. We did the countdown, had some champagne, celebrated. This week was also the split week, so climbing into High Legend, started to queue into Get Me Out, starting to queue into who else did I see? Absolute, a lot of top 100 players, and then for a while, I just started queuing into sorry guys, I hard pivoted into Hearthstone from New Year's talk to playing the game, into like ranked 20 players, like 22, 29, 27, just randomly for like a couple hours straight. And I wasn't sure what was going on, but like once I picked up on the decks they were playing, I just started playing the counter, and then I started climbing up, and the highest I got was like 266, and I floated around there for a couple of days, and then my account had got locked yesterday, day before, so there was something with the DNS, had to do like a renew, like flush it, et cetera, yada yada. Put the link on the tweet addressing the issue, and so once I got back in on the first, I saw that I had attained the illustrious 11-star status.
Congratulations, dude! That's awesome.
That's awesome, and that's super cool.
Yeah, I had a question for you about that. I was curious, how did the climb go, and how much did you play, to get up to there? A lot of times, for me personally, like once I hit legend, like kind of like lose the motivation to climb. I've never really tried to push that hard. So what was it like?
Okay, so not to call anybody out, but it all started from when Schmoopy had mentioned pushing from where we were both at like 20, not 22, like 2200, 2000 rank. And he said we could race to top 1000. But I don't think he realized I was on work vacation. So the second he said it, I jumped online and I did it in like honestly like 20 minutes. I was just like top 1000. And then I was like, this is kind of addicting because every time I won a game, now I was winning like 40 legend points instead of like 2 or 3 like I was in the 2200s. So I was like, if I just string together, 4 or 5 wins in a row, I'll climb a couple hundred ranks, and that's what happened. So then I kind of got addicted to climbing. I wasn't worried about who I was queuing into. I was just like trying to focus on the matchups. So my brain was literally just focused on like the deck I'm playing, what I'm queuing into, and what win streak I'm on. I totally forgot about the challenge from Shmoopy after the 1000 rank. So that's where it all started from.
That's so funny, man.
I intended. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I ran into Shmoopy on ladder today, and somebody else from the podcast who had featured was like in my friends list, spectating me. She said that's a person you should friend after, and he's I don't think he has the 10 times bonus because he was silver when I ran into him, if I recall correctly. Maybe he just hadn't started really playing yet or grinding in a ladder, but it seems like you won the fight there.
Yeah,
so it's pretty cool.
It was it was crazy to see. Like it's nothing. So I'm glad that I'm in there now because I'm not one to beat my chest or brag, but I can say if you do know your matchups and you know what to look for and you know how to play around stuff, or you try your best, then
sounds like you got into a flow state, man, which is like super cool.
Sounds like what?
Sounds like you got into a flow state, like you were just going playing Hearthstone.
Yeah, because you know what? Like I played against Tiger Eye like 7 times.
Wow.
I won 3 of them, but playing against Tiger Eye is like insane. Playing against Goku, I was at 44 health. I got like a random armor. Somehow Goku got me from 44 health with Dark Glare. The Giants, they get the Whirlwinds, and he gets them +4 with Power Overwhelming. Like playing against those guys over and over and over and over, literally like it just makes you better. Like I'm not saying that talking trash. I'm just saying like you just see it differently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's crazy. But yeah, that was my week. 11 stars, baby.
Dude, sounds sick, man.
That's awesome. That's so great.
How about you, Nate? How's your week been going?
It was good. I had a nice Christmas. Took about a week off of work, and I'm in like upper level management, and like the nightmare always is when I take time off work. It's like, all right, what are all the bad things that are going to happen while I'm gone? And I came back to work, and like nothing bad had happened. It was so great. Like it was so good just to.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Usually I come back and it's like, I don't know, somebody quit, somebody got in trouble, the union's all upset, the computer's broke, the building caught fire. It's always like something horrible. And this time, like just nothing happened. It was so great. And so, it was just pretty mellow. I hadn't really played a ton of Hearthstone. I played actually over the break a ton of Battlegrounds, which was really fun. I played a lot with Smork and some other people, a lot of my own really, and it's been fun. I got my 10-star bonus, which is fine. One of these times, like I think Mike, what you said makes a lot of sense. When you have like friendly competition with somebody, if you're trying to get, hey, let me hit legend. Let's race to legend. Hey, let's race to top 1000. Where you've got motivation to do it.
Yeah.
And so like lacking the motivation, I was like, well, what am I going to really do? And then I started playing Ghost of Tsushima for the PS4, and it's so good. Between the graphics and the story, and it was just like a welcome distraction, and I got so hooked on that not played a ton of Hearthstone. But now that the ladder reset, I I spent a good chunk of today playing again. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I've got my THL matches tomorrow night. So hopefully that will go well. I guess we'll see.
I've heard that floating around that tournament, THL or something like that. Is that a tournament of some kind that I just have never heard of?
It's a kind of tournament league style series of games where there's teams. Mike could explain it better than me, but essentially you're on a team of 5 people. You do weekly matches. There's a season that lasts, I don't know, what is it, like 8 weeks or something like that. And your points and the points of your team kind of accumulate over time. And then there's playoffs at the end of the season. And so it's like a friendly competition.
Yeah, let me say, because we get gifted packs and bundles from Blizzard before the lawyers come in.
It is not a league.
It's a league-based series format. I learned this from Ridiculous Hat. League-based series format.
Yeah.
Send the lawyers back. All right, good.
Could I
was just going to add to it that they balance the teams, by the way. You can't just have the most stacked team like ever because there's different seeds. And so there's a balance there. So you can be on one of these teams and you can be like a silver player kind of thing, right? Like you can be the lowest seed and still be on one of these teams and still compete in the series, which is pretty cool.
Do they do that for Wild though? I thought that was only for Standard.
So I was just gonna say, but for Wild, anything goes.
Yeah, some of these teams are stacked, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah. Wild, anything goes.
So
it's wild,
yeah, you can, if you want to get in. The season just started, so you'd have to wait until the next season. But yeah, we can send you the info. If it's the website it's teamhearthlegends.com.
Yeah, we'll hook you up. Get you in Discord.
That'd be super dope.
But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I joined super last minute. I wasn't planning on it, and Doc McButt needed a couple people, so Wildcard and I jumped on a team. But I know, Mike, you've been playing since it started, right? And it's a lot of fun. It's kind of a commitment,
No, Zeroshio has. He's actually been trying to recruit me since like 6 years ago, but I just joined like 8 months ago, so it's my first year.
Mike, do you know if do they stream the matches?
Yes, they do. Yep, I'll drop the link.
Cool.
And I'll put it in Discord too. That'll help everybody watching and the listeners. Join our Discord. Check out Discord. I'll have the Team Hearth Legends link so you can see our matches.
Super cool. Yep. So I mean, I guess that's about it for me. I think I'm mostly planning on playing Warrior this month, just because I'm trying to grind out that 1,000 wins. I'm just shy of 850 right now. The matchups are really slow. I don't really feel like playing Pirate Warrior, so I probably will jam some more odd. But yeah, I kind of had taken a break from making content for the last couple of weeks, just kind of burn out from work and holidays and stuff. But now that things are kind of back to normal, start to ramp back up again. But yeah, I can't complain. So yeah, everything is going quite well. I started a diet today and it's awful.
What's going on?
How bad are we talking, man? Is it vegan? I mean, how full on are we going?
But yeah, much needed. I was complaining. My mom's a nurse, right? And I swear, like, I'm getting a little bit older, right? But my knees, especially my right knee's been hurting for the better part of a month. I was talking to my mom. Hey, Mom, give me some medical advice. Like, my knee's hurting all the time. Like, what do I do? She goes, oh, lose some weight. I was like, excuse me.
Wow.
Oh, no, she didn't. Oh, my God.
No filter there. That's rough.
Like, I mean, I don't think I have a ton to lose, but I could drop a little bit. So,
dang.
Anyways, but no, I'm doing well. That's basically it for me. But Ghost of Tsushima is probably like game of the year material for me.
Wow.
It's really, really good. So
does it have replayability? You were saying in our like.
I don't think there's much replayability, but the game is huge. So I mean, I played a lot, pumped a lot of hours into it over the past week or two. and I'm probably like not even a quarter of the way through. And I've probably got 20 hours in. I don't know. I mean, but I'm really trying to take my time. It's kind of an open world sandbox style where without really spoiling anything, you're playing as like a samurai who's trying to recover his island, from the Mongols, and you can like there's storyline missions, but then there's a whole bunch of other little stuff. It's kind of like a better Assassin's Creed in like feudal Japan. It's really good. And
that sounds really fun.
It's kind of cool because the idea is that your main character was brought up as a samurai with all these values and honor. And, if I'm going to fight someone, I'm going to fight him, if I'm going to kill somebody, I'm going to kill him looking at him in the eye, and we're going to fight an honorable fight. But when it's one guy taking on, 1,000 Mongol soldiers, like he learns that, hey, I gotta maybe do some dishonorable things like ninja style, assassinate people and sneak in, and and so he's got this internal struggle, like, am I this honorable warrior, or am I this like dishonorable ninja type guy? Am I somewhere in between? But
almost like he's Breaking Bad throughout the course of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Or not the show. I'm thinking in my head
the game,
Breaking Bad, the show, but the game. Yeah.
But
almost like Walter White in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, it's kind of like the ends justifies the means argument, and it's really good. It's been really great. So I highly recommend it. And yeah, I think I sent you over the trailer, right? It's pretty crazy.
That looks super cool. Yeah, the just quality of what people can create with a computer is.
The games have gotten so, like, when I was a kid, I would have never imagined playing a video game looks like you're watching a movie. It's incredible. So anyways, Hydra, how you been?
I've been doing pretty good. I've been off work since last Friday, and I go back coming up this Monday. On my first night off on the Friday, I maybe got a little too excited over vacation, and I managed to stay up till about 5 a.m, which was stupid. I don't know why I did that, but then
you pay for it the next day.
Oh, you do. Actually, for a couple days in a row, because it messes up my sleep schedule where, like, normally on Saturday mornings, like, we'll get up and we'll go shopping or we'll, like, do something. So I still had to get up at a normal time. And so, yeah, I was messed up from then. So I had to either, like, take a nap or go to bed early. It took me days to get things straight, which is unfortunate. And I don't know why I don't. Like, I do this once every like month or so, where I'll do that to myself, and then it's stupid. So I got to figure that one out. I don't know why. I don't know why I keep doing it to myself, but it's been pretty good. I didn't work all week, so I just played Hearthstone. I had cleared all my quests on all accounts. I kept keeping everything clear, and then one thing I've noticed with the way the system is when I don't have a quest to do, I don't have a lot of motivation to play the game. So what I did was I seriously just played BGs like all week to get your, what is it, like 400 XP an hour kind of thing?
Right.
And so I did a lot of that while watching TV. Just had the TV on, playing BGs. I don't know if I got any better at it. I'm really good at getting in like the top few, but getting that win, I'm not very good at it. My late game is horrible. So
we were talking before the stream about this, and it might be good for both of us to turn Twitch on in the background instead of like a movie or music, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
I've been thinking about doing that just so I can like try to learn while I'm, hobbling along trying to get to my top 4 finish.
I think it's a good idea because I've just been watching TV. It sounds really bad, but I probably watched about 50 to 60 episodes of Frasier. Just because, like, I pick a show and I just put it on, and
I believe it. I do the same.
Yep.
That was the one. So I was watching Frasier and playing BGs for like a week straight. So that was basically my week until last night. Obviously, New Year's, and we didn't do really anything. We ended up just going to bed kind of early, and I actually fell asleep before midnight. And my neighbor, like seriously, the backyard next to me is where I guess all the fireworks were happening.
Oh no!
And scared the absolute crap out of my wife and I, like because we've had fallen asleep and suddenly bam, and then like over and over, and we were like, "What is going?" Oh yeah, New Year's fireworks, which was a rude awakening, but that was pretty funny. And then so today I decided it was the start of a new season. Actually, yesterday I did play on Asia and EU a bit when the ladder reset. Not very much. Got up to gold or something on both, maybe. And then today I played on NA, and I believe platinum 3 or 4 or something like that. It was kind of funny because I queued up Secret Mage, and the first thing I got was a rogue who played Eater of Secrets twice, shuffled it into their deck, and also vanished them both. And like
you won, right? You won the game.
I did, which was hilarious.
Man.
Yeah, so like they were prepared, they were ready, they knew what they were doing. Like day one, everyone's gonna bust out some sort of broken deck to try to rank up real quick. And yeah, I didn't get a friend request from that person, but I did from some sort of a control warrior. I don't know what exactly they were playing because the game didn't last very long. They dirty ratted out my 5/5, and that wasn't a good choice, and ended up dying after that. And I got one of those rude friend requests, which I know if you don't like that someone's playing a meta deck, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fine. I'm okay with it. It's always funny. We like to post those on our Discord. By the way, we get a lot of those in our haters gonna hate.
I'll have to go check those out.
Oh yeah.
I get those, and I always chuckle to myself because it's like you care that much.
Yeah. So
we take screenshots.
Everybody screenshots them, and yeah, we post them in there. So there's
Beautiful.
a whole bunch you can read through.
Haters are gonna hate. Haters are your marketing team. I love it.
And yeah, some people will say some not so nice things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically been my week. I plan on doing some laddering tomorrow. See how high I can get early in the season. I wanted to get to diamond just before the stream, but I didn't quite make it. But that's okay.
Yeah, that's kind of right where I'm at. Like right before diamond, and I got frustrated. I'm like, all right, I'm taking a break. I was feeling tilted.
We can have one of you guys. We can have one of you guys play my deck and like bottom out.
I actually felt tilted today. I can't believe it.
Really?
And I was freaking 11 stars. What the hell, man?
I know, right?
It's the MMR though. I think you get that's the beauty of the 10 stars.
Dude,
like,
oh my
with
goodness.
the 11, you're gonna get more difficult opponents.
It's like I win one, I lose one, lose two, lose three, lose one, win one. Like damn.
I feel ya. Oh,
what was your? Sorry, Mike. What was your queue time? Because I was getting like a minute and then like occasionally 2 minutes. I know some people get worse queue times day one, but with like 10 stars, I think I was going against people who weren't as like there were more people in my MMR bracket. Maybe if I understand how that works.
Maybe I'm like baby MMR 11 stars because my queue times are like 40 seconds the most ever. I've never waited longer than like 40 seconds.
You got to remember that also there's a lot of people, especially in 11 stars, that go for day one. So there's a lot of people playing right now.
That's true.
My friends list was full of people climbing today.
Same.
Yeah, my list is like 150. I was like, damn.
Hey, Gold Daniel hit rank 1 legend, by the way.
I saw that. Yeah.
Pretty sweet.
I saw the leaderboard and I was like, damn, I want to make this so bad.
Oh, hey, I forgot. I hit level 69 today. So
Oh yeah.
it's an obligatory screenshot.
Yep. I took mine.
Hey, so let's talk about some news. And one of the things that I forgot to put in the show notes, Mike can talk about it real quick, is that tournament is tomorrow, right? So
yes, sir. It is tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Should be a blast.
If you haven't signed up, if you got time tomorrow, if you're looking to make some money, check out the link. I'll drop it in Twitch chat right now. I will drop it in Discord one more time. And it's 3 p.m. tomorrow. It's going to be casted by me and Shokunin. Shokunin is the executive producer of Born to Be Wild. Shokunin is also the purchaser and the person who bought this microphone, this arm right here, this camera. Appreciate Shokunin. So we're gonna have a great time tomorrow. It's gonna be awesome.
He's an awesome guy. I totally forgot to bring it up too. I did a bunch of co-op games with him over the past week. We sat down one evening, played for, I don't know, it was probably 4 or 5 hours.
Oh wow!
We capped out at Diamond 1, and it was I don't know. It was probably 3 a.m, and it was like got a call at night. But
I was gonna say fatigue. Yeah, I get it.
I start playing poorly like when I'm tired. Unfortunately, you gotta tap out at some point. But
no, I respect it because like your ego comes in, like you're playing poorly, but it's like no, I can beat this guy. But
I do one of those when I get that tired. I kind of my go-to is, all right, I'll play until I lose, and then I either hit legend or I going to bed.
Got it.
Then, but like I don't know, I was gonna grind last night when midnight hit, and I jumped on and I played one game. It was Odd Warrior versus Secret Mage, and I won like easy peasy. And I was like, you know what? I'm feeling pretty good. I'm going to bed.
Going to bed on a high note.
I thought I'll wake up early. Tomorrow and play. And like I did not wake up early. I don't know. I gotta get over this whole vacation mode thing. And I think we'll spend the weekend like putting away all the Christmas stuff and trying to get things back on track. But
it's over.
Anyways, so tomorrow, Dark Moon Fair Community Brawl happening. $250 prize pool, sponsored by Shokunin and Ben from Work. There's some special rules. You can read all about it in the Discord. It should be a blast. And I didn't sign up, but I'll watch for sure. And I think it'll be great. I love the deck building restrictions. I think it makes the competition that much fiercer because you can't just, copy paste, some leaderboard meta deck or something from Tempo Storm or whatever. You got to actually put some time in and do some practice, and it should be really fun. So I'm excited. I'm excited
for it. We currently have 85 people signed up. So you guys want to jump in the fun and boost it up to 100? I'm looking for 15 more people. What's up? Talk to you, boy.
Yo, question about that. Not necessarily about the 100 versus 85 thing, but about if people want to just spectate. I don't know if that's what the 85 is people who are participating or people who are like signed up to watch, or what the
those are signed up to participate.
To participate.
Yeah, I'm looking at 85 player registered right now. We got Neji Boston, we got Rami, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
We got some top legend players in here, man. This is nice.
Is it too late to sign up for those of us who might be interested?
It is not too late.
Nope, it is not too late.
Maybe after the podcast, y'all could tell me how I could do that.
Yep.
Definitely. Oh, we got Martian Booth signed up. Oh, this is going to be great.
Dope.
All right. What else we got for news? Not much news. I think very little news, in fact. But I think
pretty quiet on the Hearthstone front.
The one thing that we just want to remind everybody is that the Blizzard holiday sale is still going on until January 4th. If you want to get in there, there seems to be something for all the Blizzard franchises, up to 65% off on certain items. For Hearthstone, there's if you're a collector, and I know that there are some of you out there, Nate Wolf. If you need all the card backs, there is 2 in there that you can get that are part of World of Warcraft bundles, and they're $10 each, and they come with different mounts and everything in the game. But as well, you get the Battle for Azeroth card back. That cool red and blue one that you see in game.
Yeah.
And there's also the Warlords of Draenor one in there as well, if anybody's interested in picking those up. Well,
it is. So
are they paying me if I get that? Do I get money?
Right, that's pretty funny. Shokunin was the one that let me know. I was under the impression that you needed to have like a WoW account to get the goodies, but you don't. I had the Warlords of Draenor one from a long time ago. I think I jumped on WoW with the free trial and got this ages ago when I got my Paladin skin or whatever it was. But I spent the $10 for the digital goodies for the Battle of Azeroth, and I don't have a WoW account at all. And I just it just popped right up. I opened up client and bam, new card back. Oh, okay, cool. It looks neat. So I had been waiting on that one because previously you had to spend like $40 on it or more, and I was like, not going to do that. No way, absolutely not. So no. The Warlords of Draenor one is basically like a wooden card back with like steel border, and it is very lackluster.
It's quite plain. The Battle for Azeroth one is the nice one. So
that one looks like regal, like royalty, like
yeah.
I like it.
There are some other cool things in the shop right now. There's some prints right now of the old gods that are really cool that you can get on sale right now. I got some statues for my office here, so it's kind of cool. The sale's good through January the 4th, by the way, so that everything is up to 65% off, I think. Yeah. Anyways, no news. Hey, do you guys have any clue or any guess as to when they're going to drop this 35 card like mini expansion?
I have a thought, and I don't know if it's accurate at all, but I know that in Battlegrounds they said that this is just a theory, right? But they said that the every 4 turns you get a treasure. That was going to be for the next 2 months from like the 14th of December, I believe. So I would think that maybe they're thinking February, like around Valentine's Day might be the time that they would drop that. I don't have any basis for that. I haven't seen anything official, but it seems like if they're going with like the Battlegrounds update going sort of in line with the mini expansion, and it kind of lines up with about halfway through. So I was thinking that might have something to do with sort of a ballpark of when they might drop the mini expansion. Does anybody else know for sure when that is?
I mean, early on they said about halfway through, and I don't think they were pretty vague on it.
Very.
So I don't know. I remember them saying something to the effect of around halfway through, but are they called it mid-season mini expansion or something like that?
For me, I fully expect when I go on work vacation in February for it to be available. I think all of December and all of January passing by will be enough time for a mid-season whatever if a set's to come out in March or April. So I'm aiming for mid-February.
That sounds about right. What always happens is these guys drop sets when I'm not supposed to be spending money on stuff, right? So my wedding anniversary, November the 12th, right? New set.
Yep.
New set comes out.
17th.
My wife's birthday, April the 6th, new set comes out. Like, hey, I'm just going to take your birthday money and buy Hearthstone cards with it. I'm sorry. I'm joking. Don't do that. But the timing, it always seems like so early April is what I anticipate. I think they might do it a little bit differently because this set, I think normally we got early December and we got it like early to November instead, right?
Yeah. So are they going to bring everything back, or
I hope so.
Was that just the only expansion they brought back? Like, or is the whole rotation of everything going to be moving back?
I hope it moves back so we get a set in March.
Yeah.
March Madness.
We
had Madness.
How many? They said 35 cards, right?
Was it 35 or was it more? It was
35 for the mini set.
Yeah, 170 total. That's what.
A little mini set in February. That'd be cool.
That sounds right. I mean, that's like the size of an adventure, right?
Yeah.
So someone asked me how many legends I thought they were going to be. My guess was 4 out of 35. I think that's probably about right.
Neutrals?
Maybe not. They're probably neutral. I mean, if I look at it like an adventure, it would be that's what my guess would be. But I wonder if they would do one for each class. I don't know. I have no clue. I really have no idea.
To loop back quickly to Mike's question, where he asked about building a collection for free to play. On EU, I just got the achievement for, I believe it was getting 100 of the last expansions cards.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah, and so that's not spending any money at all, right? And not even grinding that hard. So
yeah,
if that helps anybody out, like, and then we're gonna have the new 35 cards coming out. I'm liable to possibly get that coin, even like on free to play, for having 100 and I think you need 135 cards of a set. So just thought I would throw that in there, because when that dinged and I got that achievement, I didn't realize I had 100 cards out of the 135 already on the free to play account. So
wow, that's
cool.
good.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Wow.
We can take this time to talk about your deck. The deck of the week we have is Glaire's even Reno Warlock deck. It's super cool. And so I know you've been kind of debating on whether or not to bring Dark Glare and talk about Dark Glare, but I think it was just too enticing to bring this fun deck. And I think we really hit the sweet spot is when we have like a fun off meta deck that's still competitive. So it's not like the same thing all the time. So I'm really excited. This should be a lot of fun. I'm going to put it up on the screen real quick here so people watching can check it out. And for the folks who are listening to the audio version, I'll put the deck list in the show notes and on our website, put it in the Discord, but also I'll read through the list really quick just so that you can hear, and then we can talk about the deck real quick. So Glaire's even Reno Luck. As a Highlander deck, there are one of each of the following cards: Raise Dead, Corrupting Mist, Cult Neophyte, Dark Bomb, Dark Glare, Defile, Dirty Rat, Expired Merchant, Explosive Sheep, Garrison Commander, Gnome Feratu, Mana Feeder Panthara, Sun Fury Protector, Vulgar Homunculus, Zephyrs the Great, Brotoborn Destroyer, Diseased Vulture, Fire Breather, Hellfire, Hooked Reaver, Kazakis, Shadowflame, Abyssal Summoner, Gen Greymane, Glinda Crowskin, Reno Jackson, Flesh Giant, Frost Giant, Mountain Giant, and Molten Giant. This is a super cool list. So what inspired you to make this? I put together some notes, and essentially the questions surrounding the deck are like, what is the basic play style of the deck? How did you build it, right? What cards made the cut? What were removed? What is core versus what are the flex spots? Going through some of the good and bad matchups, the mulligan strategies. And then always, when we look at a list, sometimes like what is this deck supposed to do? But it's always interesting to find out, what is the synergy that isn't evident just by looking at the list, and then anything else that you want to contribute.
Okay. Well, I'll read through what I've written. If you guys have questions, I can answer them. This shouldn't take too long. Obviously, if you have thoughts, I'd love to hear them. I'm going to be editing the list in the background as well for myself, so that I have any thoughts that you guys come up with that I may not have seen or may not have realized were possibilities. So my first instinct when I wanted to build this deck was that I wanted to build something that was able to kind of have a better win rate against a broader swath of the current meta than I feel like some of the lists that are being run that are off meta can do, right? Like this is definitely an off meta list, right? Not a lot of people are running lists that are very close to this, I wouldn't say. I could be wrong. I did run into a couple of people running, like there was a guy that one of my friends ran into. I think it was you, Nate, actually.
Oh yeah, the guy scammed me so hard.
He was running Ticketus. I watched that game through twice, and that just felt pretty bad, right? You played well.
I think I would have won if not for the Ticketus.
That's the thing, and that just feels so bad getting thrown down when you're trying to do anything, and then they just. I mean, I forget what cards got burned, but
both of my brawls got burned, and so that's what I was. I was able to kind of stabilize most of the game. But when they've got a board full of giants and you got no brawls when you're supposed to have two, that's a little bit of a bummer. Yeah. So I'm still learning. I've been playing a lot of Odd Warrior, but it's not my normal deck of choice, and so it does not come very intuitive to me. A lot of times my instinct is to remove everything right away when that may not be the best choice. Maybe better to wait. I'm hardly the expert. I got to watch Mike play. So, and anyways, I got off track. What were you saying?
I was saying just that for me, I like to play off meta decks if I can. I don't like jamming other people's decks. I don't have a problem with it in theory, but when I, am playing Corbett's list from 1900 to 1100 without losing, and then I'm like, wait, does this actually mean anything? Because I'm just using somebody else's list, It's not as impressive, I don't think, for me, when I see other people using lists that were made by people that weren't them. So I want to be somebody who's like a mover and a shaker and making lists that are actually like viable, right? Which is why I do a lot of deck building and theory crafting. I'm not great at it. Like I build tier 2 and tier 3 decks that are fun a lot of the time and sometimes work really well. But this deck has brought me to Diamond 5 in about 10 hours of gameplay today.
Okay.
I played it from really low silver, from like silver 8, I think, to Diamond 4, and then sort of tilted off of it. The one hard matchup I found, I think I was saying in the pre-show, was that I have a tough time beating Res Priest because they get their board going, and unless I have Zephyrus, like a board established already, which is hard to do against a Res Priest with all their removal. They throw down. Their curve can be palm reading on 3, clear my board with a Mass Hysteria on 4, Shadow Essence on 5, and like Psychic Scream on 6 if they have that in their deck, which I don't think they should, but some people are running that card. So there's just so much removal, right? And then if they don't get the Psychic Scream or they don't have it, they just do their second Mass Hysteria or their third or their fourth with Shadow Vision. So it's just very difficult.
That's always fun, right?
The 2 games I did win against that deck out of the 8 that I played today that I was counting anyway. I may have played more and not registered that I was. I don't know. I counted 2 wins. I know that much, and I counted a lot of losses. That's kind of where it comes down to. My deck tracker isn't functioning right now, so I don't know the exact win rates and all that. But I have a 10 times bonus, so it's definitely easier for me than for some people who don't play as much, and maybe a little bit harder than people who have that 11-star bonus and are really, really grinding day one.
I'll trade it. I can't get past Diamond 5. It's really hard.
It is hard, man. I mean, even 2 stars, you're playing against real like top-notch players. So
yeah, I didn't realize till Nate said it like 10 minutes ago. It's the MMR.
Yeah, I think probably 100%. Right? You were 266, I think you said, and I'm 3K. I'm 3K going into this new season. So. Damn. But the thing too is you're going to hit legend and you're going to be like rank 10. I'll hit legend. I'll be like rank 50, and we'll hit it at the same time. So, it's like this cycle, right? For me anyway, I'm in this position on the ladder where like, it's really difficult to get to high legend and stay there because my MMR is bad, right? I got to high legend. I'm 5-2 against Get Me Out on my career. at this point. I've played him a fair amount of times, and I go against him. If I win, it's good, right? I gain a couple points. It's fine. I beat Get Me Out, and that feels nice. And then I lose, and I'm like way back to where I started.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like one step forward, 4 steps back. That's been my experience anyway. When I do get high legend, like and then I tilt. I do tilt. I get frustrated with how I've played more than anything a lot of the times. Like I had a game against Corbett where I just messed up. I miscounted the mana because I was like, it's Corbett and he's probably live. And
he's probably live.
I know that's.
Oh my god!
Of course,
right?
It turned out that he was, and he had 100 people, but I didn't know that going into it, right? I would never stream snipe a children's card game as much as I want to win. But no, the nerves kind of kicked in, and I miscounted how much mana I had. I thought I was on 7 mana, and I did. I thought I was going to be going into 7 mana where I could scream a. It would have been an empty board. It was the Raza Priest mirror like 2 months ago, and I miscounted my mana, and then I threw the game, and it was in front of a lot of people, and it was very embarrassing. Just to lose to him, even because he's someone that I have been aware of in the community for a while. But
he's a really nice guy. If it makes you feel any better.
Yeah.
That makes me feel worse, man. I'm sure he'd be friendly about it, and then I'd be even more ashamed. But no, it's something to learn from, and now I don't get as nervous. Like I've played in front of 400 people playing against Zeddy before, and
oh yeah, that'll help you shake nerves right there. Yeah,
it doesn't bother me as much. I mean, I've in real life I've presented, at school I presented in front of 100 people before, and it doesn't make me nervous when I know what I'm doing. To be fair, Zeddy was playing a meme like Yogg deck to try to get the Rod of Roasting thing going, and I had been watching him earlier in the day, so I knew what he was doing, and I knew it wasn't going to be like the worst thing if I didn't play well.
Gotcha, yeah.
And I did end up losing that game. I was playing Dark Lair, and I think if I remember correctly, he got lucky off of the Yogg. And I conceded, and then I looked at the VOD after, and he was like upset that I conceded because he wanted to do the Rod of Roasting. He was going to Rod of Roasting. I could have won if it had been Rod of Roasting, right? And he had frozen it, or pinged himself 5 times before it hit me twice or something. It was going to be really unlikely, but I threw that game because I wasn't stream sniping. I didn't know that he was like begging me not to concede, and I just like threw all my cards out. I'm out, and then conceded the game. So he'll probably have a grudge against me forever. Because he's Zeddy. Huge fan, by the way. I'm following him on YouTube, and anybody who's interested in like a really good Wild player should check him out.
If it makes you feel any better, you're not the only one who gets embarrassed at that stuff. I was playing like a hardcore good, I don't know what meta deck it was, and I went against Raffle, and he was playing some weird garbage, and he got whatever combo it was off, and then I go and check his stream out, and there's hundreds of people in there. I'm like, oh no!
God. Did he accidentally win? Was it like that kind of thing, or
no? Like I think I don't remember if I misplayed or I just like had really bad draws or whatever it was, but I just felt like bad and kind of dumb because everybody saw it, but it happens, right? So
yeah.
Part of it with Raffle is that he's a really good deck builder, and he also plays like pure off meta stuff. And so when you play him, you have no idea what he's playing. Like I'm playing Raffle and he's playing Hunter, and it's like, oh god, what is this? And like, yeah, I've been featured in several Raffle videos losing. It's great.
Yep.
I mean, I've won against him as well, but those don't end up on YouTube.
Those don't feature, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Why would they? I featured in this guy's video that ended up having 30K views. A Spanish speaker, who I ended up watching the VOD for it, or the YouTube video, and it was actually 30,000 people by the time that, like, it, a video will have like its moment and then it'll kind of fade. He's like, I guess one of the bigger Spanish speaking streamers, and I lost badly. I don't know if I messed it up or I got bad draw, like you were saying, Hydra, but but it was bad. It was a lot of people, and I kind of laughed at myself about it, felt bad, and then moved on. I mean, that might have been the thing that pivoted me away from being afraid of performance anxiety kind of like scenarios.
That's how the YouTube stuff works, though. Is like we play games. Like if I'm going to feature a deck, like you want to see the deck like how it's supposed to work, right? Not when you get high rolled.
I was the feature video too. He was like, I'm trying to beat Secret Mage or something like that. I don't know what it was. And then he was like running some off meta thing and I lost badly.
Well, it happens to the best of us, I guess is the point. Like we've all been there. I will say it also feels really good when you win against Zeddy on stream.
my God.
I think Mike, at least Mike and I are in that camp. I've been there, done that. And it's, then you check out the stream later and hear the rage rants. It's pretty funny.
So, yeah, been there a couple of times.
He's a beautiful human being. I've won against him twice, and he gets upset. He gets upset when he wins and when he loses. So like,
that's I think all part of his character.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
right.
But
yeah, to be all serious, I think it's character because there was a time where I lost to him. I made a certain play. I got called a certain name, and then I was like, "Damn!" And then I beat him. I made a certain play, and I won. And he calls me a certain name. I'm like, "Damn!" So I'm just like, "It's got to be a character." I don't know, man. Like,
that's the thing. You can't be that upset all the time. It's impossible. I couldn't do it. I couldn't muster the.
You guys remember when Rod Johnston played this game?
Oh, angry Rod.
Love you, Rod.
Oh, yes, but always, and that's just the part of the personality, right?
Yeah, he's a good friend, by the way.
I'm sure he is. I mean, everybody's got that angry person in their life, right?
Yo,
I don't know the story. I don't know the story there, but it sounds like.
Well, part of it is that there's so much RNG in Hearthstone, right? That you
absolutely,
you lose to random stuff, and anyways, no, it's just funny. He explodes, and it's hilarious to watch.
Yeah, I would have to turn my speakers down when he started yelling all the time.
Oh, no. Yo, I missed that. I don't have any streamers that watch that scream anymore. Nobody screams. What happened?
Rod, come back and play Hearthstone. We miss you.
I'm not gonna be screaming. I don't know about that, but
Mike, you can do it. We'll watch you scream.
Let's sponsor Rod and get him to come back.
It's
I'll scream. What's up?
Please don't. But no, to pivot back to my deck here, I know that we're not necessarily on a time frame, but I want to make sure we have time to play the deck as well. And then if anybody's on East Coast, I know I'm on East Coast, and it's fine for me. I have been staying up super late, but I want to respect if there's people who need to like be heading off. I want to get the games in, and then yeah.
It's good for the show in some regards for us to keep things on track, and then the structure of it is that we talk about the deck, kind of learn the ins and outs, how you build it, what's the matchups and the flex spots, and whatever you want to tell us about it. Sort of wrap up the show, and then we spend a separate portion playing it, and so that the folks who are listening to the audio version of the podcast or the people who are watching it. If they want to see the deck in action, the idea behind it really is that, hey, we can talk about this deck all day, but until I see how it's played, that really helps. Is that something that I want to play? Or, hey, let's talk through some of our matchups. Let's talk through some of our decisions. And that would help me to learn how to play this if I want to give it a try.
Definitely. And again, like I was super enjoying chatting about like our matchups against Zeddy and stuff, and that's fun. And I want to make sure there's space for that too. I know you guys have your show going. I don't know, but I also, I guess, want to talk about the deck as well. So my notes kind of are dictating what I should say, but basically when I was thinking through the deck, I was thinking the more expensive the deck becomes, the worse it becomes, I think. I don't know if you guys have like a certain way you like to build decks when you do build them, but the way that I tend to build decks is I tend to go really cheap.
Okay.
And
the
curve on this,
like low curve.
Yeah. Sorry. I do tend to try to build cheap if I can, especially for like when I'm sharing decks with people where like this list only has 5 legendaries. It has quite a few epics, and the ratio of epics to legendaries though is pretty good to like be able to play if you're free to play or close to free to play, I would think. As far as a Reno deck goes, right? Like it's not Raza Priest or LPG. And so the idea with this deck, it almost kind of feels like obviously I play quite a bit of Dark Lair, so it kind of plays out in some ways like I want to get my giants out as early as I can, control the board early, and attempt to set up a scenario where I can win either with Zephrys on a big board to like, clear any taunts that they have, or set up a position where I can Reno out of the range of decks like Secret Mage. Like it can almost play out like a fatigue deck a lot of the time, which you might not realize when you're looking at it. It just tends to have the range, right? Like it has the Zephrys to clear. It has, even Defile can help with that, to have like the small clears against lists like Kingsbane Rogue or Aggro Druid, which I did run into a couple of times on my climb today. And Shadow Flame is an inclusion, even though Zephrys can pull Shadow Flame. Shadow Flame can end up, you throw it on a giant, it clears a board that's very, very threatening, and that gives you range to get to like, another giant plus taunt the giant, and that can be game winning. There's just a lot of like interactions you might not realize. An interaction that's actually really interesting, and unfortunately Glinda's been nerfed, but you can get up to 4 giants if you have a giant down to 1 or 0. You just obviously would play Glinda on turn 10 or 9 or 7 or 8, and then you play as many giants as you can. I've even like attempted to save coin for that in some matchups. You wouldn't do that like as a thing you would do, but if you happen to have coin on like turn 5, you might try to avoid using coin and wait and then play 5 giants. I had a game where I played Glinda one turn, and then the guy I was playing against was a Res Priest and set up a position on the board where he had a full board of minions and they were all taunted. And then it was like 2 Vargoths, I think. And I ended up setting up a play where I had the Glinda on board, and then I played 4 sheep, and then I exploded the board and everything died.
Wow.
So he got bad. Okay. He got bad reses, but I traded a giant into the 1 Death Rattle Fellcracked Colossus, and then blew up the board. And it was like the coolest board clear I've ever done. The guy had actually 45 attack on board.
Wow.
Or like maybe 40. It was actually absurd. And I got the wow and then the well played, and then I lost the game anyway because it's Res Priest. But that clear almost got me there.
Wow.
It was pretty funny.
So what is?
And
sorry. Carry on.
Oh no, I was going to throw another little interaction out, which is that I will often keep. I don't know if this is what people normally do with even lock, but I would normally keep the mountain giant on coin, and then just power tap until turn 3 and then play it. Like that can be really, really strong into the current meta. In my opinion, like if you set it up into a aggro list that can just solo the list, right? Like I've won games against Paladin where they just can't deal with an 8/8 giant, and then I taunt it and they really can't deal with it. Odd Paladin, of course. I mean, that's really what people are playing at this point. So
Right.
if you get the Sun Fury Protector or the Mountain Giant, you would almost always keep the 2 of those, I would think, and just power tap. I will often keep suboptimal hands because I don't want to get like 2 frost or 2 big minions. I would keep like, for instance, I would keep like Corrupting Mist, and Rat and Gnome Feratu, maybe, against a Druid if I didn't know who they were, like what they were playing. Because the Corrupting Mist deals with aggro. Dirty Rat deals with Melee, which is like probably the only other like real Druid deck right now that I'm aware of. I mean, I maybe saw 2 people playing Yogg Druid, but I don't think that's really going places at the moment. I could be wrong. I haven't seen much of it except for like today, actually, very, very early in the season. So yeah, and then if I had Gnome Feratu, that's just a decent card. That's a 2-drop. It's a Crocolisk, right, with a really good upside if you hit like, you know, any of their combo pieces.
Right.
And so that might not seem like a great hand if I could roll and try to get like, you know, a Giant and Reno and Glinda and try to have like the late game if I want to commit to Mally Druid being what I'm going against, which is most likely the case. But the thing with like having the really cheap hero power is you just can tap every turn. And this deck has a lot of synergy with Pain too, right? We have we're running Diseased Vulture. We have the Dark Lair. I mean, so one of course, but we can raise it from the dead, bring it back, do the same thing again. We have Frost Giant that with Commander can be comboed out to get the Frost Giants down, where it's actually a playable card. We have Mountain Giant, which if you're drawing cards, I mean, all of these giants are interactive with the hero power. So just tapping can be really powerful. Like I would very often tap and then tap again on 2 even though I'm floating a mana. And sometimes you have a better play than that. Often you would, but in a fair number of circumstances, I would just tap looking for a better play for the next turn. So my curve is very often tap on 1, tap or play a powerful 2-drop on 2, and then tap and play a 2-drop on 3. So it's sort of tap, tap, tap. And even if I'm not tapping, a lot of the 2-drops draw, right? So it's like playing Garrison Commander is almost drawing. It replaces itself in the deck, or in the hand rather. You play it on 2, say, and then the next turn you can tap twice. And I don't know, that might even be enough, right? Floating a mana on 3 can seem like a bad idea, and you would try to avoid it if you could. But given the hand that you might be dealt, playing Garrison Commander on 2 might be a thing to do. The ideal hand, I think, for this deck is varied. It almost invariably would include Zephrys. So I don't think ever toss Zephrys. It's just so good into everything. You know, gets you a flare against Secret Mage, gets you a board clear if you need it in a pickle, gets you burst damage late in the game. But it's a resource that you have to manage. And of course, you guys have played a lot of Hearthstone, so I think at least the 3 guys on the screen and myself, and then probably a lot of the people in chat as well, know that with any Hearthstone deck, but especially with a Reno deck, managing resources is really, really important. And so not overcommitting to any line when you don't need to, unless it's a game-winning line, is like really, really important, especially with the way that this deck is built, where it's so cheap, right? It's easy to just throw out, you know, say you needed to throw out like a card on turn 4, turn 5. You just have 9 cards or 10 cards in hand and need to get rid of one. You might be tempted to throw out the coin. And that might be the right play, even though you end up floating a mana with the coin being tossed. Or you might end up even, on occasion, I've played Raise Dead to just get 1 minion back, and then played that minion. That's been like my way of getting rid of a card. I mean, Gnome Feratu is really, really good against certain decks where like they might pull Celt if they're Raza Priest, and then you can burn their Anduin. But it can also just be a good option to throw it out there. You know, it's a 2/3 body.
Tempo
test the board a little bit, tempo it out, exactly. And maybe you hit the Anduin anyway, or you hit the card that's equivalent to Anduin in the deck you're playing against. Yeah, and then beyond that, I mean, it just kind of plays out like a control list and also a fatigue list. You're trying to fatigue their resources gather the resources you need, and then eventually pivot from playing defense to playing offense. I would almost never go face with this deck against like an odd paladin, for instance. You're trying to control the board, and then once you have like an overwhelming board presence, you would swing into face.
Right.
And like having Zephyrus in the deck and Reno Jackson for reload gives you a lot of options, right? And then you have like all the taunts that are there. I've found Hooked Reaver to be like instrumental against anything that's trying to go aggro. Actually, a really interesting thing is that Abyssal Summoner has been like something I would consider keeping in the mulligan against a mage, because it's just so good. It's almost better than Reno.
Wow.
It blocks, it like blows their board up.
Mm-hmm.
And I found people will often like attack into it. I think I would always keep Reno against Secret Mage, but I might consider keeping Abyssal Summoner, where I could toss it looking for Reno. Because those games usually aren't over on turn 5, right? Like we have the control to deal with their early game. But the Abyssal Summoner, when I get it on 6, just feels so good. It's like a mini Reno, right? It's an 11/11 that has 9 health worth of taunt, and it stalls so that you can more safely tap into Reno or into Zephyrus or into any number of other cards that you might need. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I considered and then took out Lesser Amethyst Spellstone. I had it in for about 4 hours and I was playtesting it, but it's not good enough because there's not enough pain in the deck to actually activate it.
Mm-hmm.
And it really often sits in your hand. And then like on turn 4 against Secret Mage, it's a dead card in hand all game. And then you play it for, to potentially deal 3 or 5 damage. And then it gets counterspelled and you're just dead.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get that swing turn. They get their counterspell off and it's just a really sad situation. So I ended up cutting that, but it felt okay in some matchups. Like if I was able to activate it, right? Like if I could throw in, I guess, I could make space for the Spellstone and maybe a Cheaty Ankle Biter. I feel like those 2 cards would have to go in together for the combo to work there.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can see the inspiration from Dark Glare, but I agree with you, especially because it's a Highlander deck. I don't see enough pain cards because really all we have is what Hellfire and the Homunculus.
Interestingly enough, actually, the inspiration wasn't purely from Dark Glare. It was from my awareness, my like vague awareness of how people used to play Even Lock. Because my brother is somebody who played some Even Lock, and he was at some point showing me a list that he had, and I think it had Lesser Amethyst Spellstone in it. Had the Spellstone, and that is good maybe in the duplicates version, just for a little bit of extra healing, right? But when you're looking at a list where it's a singleton list, you don't have the activators, and there's counterspell in the meta at a pretty high rate. It's just not. But you need some form of healing. So I think maybe even putting in the Cheaty Ankle Biter, if we can find space. I don't know what would come out for it, but I had considered maybe taking Defile out for something. So maybe Defile could come out. It can feel good as a to get counterspelled, and then against aggro it can just win games. But
yeah, it's true. I mean, in looking at the list, right? Like I don't know what I would pull. Yeah, Defile is one of the best Warlock cards.
Defile's so good. I don't know.
That's the thing. I feel weird saying it even, but
ever.
Yeah. It's like broken, but it's not Zephyrus in the deck. It's like tier 2, maybe, of like power level of cards in the deck. It's like really, really good in certain circumstances, and then completely useless against Res Priest, Reno Priest.
Yeah.
I don't think it would make. I honestly think that having Cheaty Ankle Biter might make like Kingsbane more winnable than having Defile, because it activates Flesh Giants. We can set up a board where we have a Flesh Giant going and like a taunt up. We can taunt the Flesh Giant maybe earlier, just as a consideration. not that I'm seeing a lot of Kingsman Rogue, but like that kind of deck where a win condition for this deck is just taunts against aggro. By the way, I've found that aggro decks tend to be essentially free for this deck. To the extent that I don't even really pay attention when I'm playing them. I just look for taunts in the mulligan and usually win if I get them. The only tough aggro matchup would be like Odd Paladin. That's like a pure aggro matchup, or like a Pirate Warrior that goes off really hard.
Sometimes that just happens.
Yeah, I mean, you can go against Pirate Warrior and they have a board looking at you on turn 3 that's like an aggro druid board. Yeah. After they embiggen. It's scary stuff. But I mean, you can win that if you get Reno Jackson, right? I had a game against a Pirate Warrior where I ended on 4 health and then raised deaded and got the Reno Jackson back and then threw that down. And the guy still tried to play. I think he got me down to like 15, and then I was able to control and stabilize the board.
Wow.
And I ended up winning that game. So I got myself down to 1 health and like, pray, please give me this Reno back. And I got it back. And it went like 8 or 9 turns, which is like unheard of for Pirate Warrior. It usually either goes, their way or your way much earlier than that.
Right.
With like a Warlock and a Pirate Warrior anyway.
Hey, Merchant looks pretty good in this, assuming like it gets rid of one of your giants or something that you can get back and play for almost nothing.
Yeah. Did you? I think that's in my list, right?
Yeah.
I think that it's a questionable one, right? It could be. I find it's actually useful around turn like 4 or 5 to get back like a Shadow Flame or a Hooked Reaver or a Fire Breather in certain matchups.
Sure.
Because the Giants end up being free in a lot of matchups, and then we only have 4 6-drops. So we can often get back a 4-drop, and that's like potentially really, really good. I've won games where I've gotten like Brittlebone Destroyer back off of Expired Merchant. So like the top end looks like it's the Giants, but it isn't always.
Right. Okay. Well,
I mean it's good to get the Giants back too, but
it's pretty versatile. I mean, that's the beauty of it. You can control what you discard. To some extent. And so if you need a Fire Breather or a Brittlebone Destroyer or a Hooked Reaver or something, so I like it.
It's interesting too that you mentioned that card is something that are you thinking of it as something we could pull or just something to talk about?
No. I was just talking about it as an inclusion. The other card that's interesting to me, I'm just curious about, is Garrison Commander. Is that just there so that you can tap twice?
Yeah, it's more or less. I mean, my justification for it is it enables all of the Giants. It gives you, I mean, the deck is so cheap, right? If you look at the way that it's built, there's mostly 2-drops. So a lot of the time you're tapping and playing a lot of 2-drops. And sometimes the game plan ends up being zooing the opponent out. And if you have Reno healing up, or if you have Zephyrus getting like a turn 7 Bloodlust and winning that way. I win about a fifth of the games I win with some form of like Zephyrus, because I often will like control the game for a very long period of time and then Zephyrus to be able to win.
Mm-hmm.
Because it feels like you're controlling, and then you pivot to like you're on the offense and they're on the back foot.
Yeah,
and knowing when that can happen is like pretty important, right? You don't want to overcommit.
When do you pull the trigger, right?
Exactly, and it's. I mean, there's in every matchup there's going to be a moment, right, where it's like I could do this now, I can do it next turn. I know with Dark Lair, a lot of people will like do partial Dark Lair turns, and then some people swear by doing like the full. People run Sense Demons still, even though the deck has been nerfed. Or the card has been nerfed, the Dark Lair card, just to get the Dark Lair out. I don't think that's the way to go. But for me personally, I think Dark Lair is not necessary in Dark Lair Warlock. Like to the extent that you can win the game without it, right? There's enough pain in the optimal lists and there's enough burn in the optimal list that you can set up a board without even ever drawing a Dark Lair. You don't need it to win. Obviously, it's optimal to get it. Raise Dead is the most broken card, probably on par with Flesh Giant. Maybe you can swap those two. And then Molten Giant's pretty broken, like maybe a level below that. Dark Lair's like on tier with Molten Giant, I think, in Dark Lair. And then Lotheb obviously enables the combo with the Giants, but on its own wouldn't be very good, except that you play it with like 4 Giants. They can't do anything. So that's my opinion of Dark Lair, and it kind of filters into this list as well.
Sure.
Is that, yeah. As far as Dirty Rat goes, it's just, you have to know not to do it on turn 2 against some matchups, and then you're pretty golden. I had a guy Dirty Rat out a Molten Giant and then concede. I had a guy Dirty Rat out. A lot of people run Dirty Rat day 1. This is all today. He Dirty Ratted out a Frost Giant, and then I think it was Warlock, and he somehow got it back. Might have been Raised Dead. It might have been like Zola that it was. I think it was Zola. He did it again and hit like something good but not great. Like maybe he hit Gen or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was not a giant. But that first time, and then the fact that he did it again kind of blew my mind.
How funny. At what point, do you shame concede, right?
I've certainly shame conceded after pulling large minions. You go against an aggro druid with this list, you could think it's an aggro druid. Go for the pull, and you pull like a 6/6, right? If it's Mali and you hit the one that you don't want to pull, that doesn't really matter. Right. Being Geppetto, right? And then you're kind of up a creek without a paddle, as it were.
Well, with
you got to be careful, right?
You got to know what you're playing before you blind Dirty Rat. I mean,
yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah, I had somebody. I thought it was so funny at the time, but this is when I guess Rat was new. Played it against me when I was playing that really crappy Cthulhu mage, and Dirty Ratted me on 2 when I had drawn Cthulhu. And so I instantly had a 6/6 on turn 2.
That's pretty good.
I'm like, thank you. And yes, I did win that game.
Yeah, Dirty Rat has so much potential, but it also has so much potential for being misused, right?
Mm-hmm.
What else? Dark Lair, just don't overcommit it. I often don't play Dark Lair if I don't absolutely need to. It's not a Dark Lair list. It just has Dark Lair kind of as discard lock has Dark Lair. Corrupting Mist, I often use that to clear Res Priest boards. I use it to clear little boards where it's like threatening enough that, I mean, the core of this deck is you don't want to go too low on health until you have Reno in hand. There's not really a whole lot of healing besides Zephyrs and Reno. Zephyrs is like the win condition besides the Giants, and then Reno goes on its own as like kind of the sole healing besides Kazakus can give you armor. And the Corrupting Mist, even if you play it on 3 pirates, if you're going against Kingsbane, can feel like game winning, right? Because they lose the momentum that they had. Obviously, Raised Dead is broken. Fire Breather is super, super good into aggro. Homunculus is just a cheap taunt. It synergizes with all of the giants except for Frost Giant. It is, just going over all the cards at this point, right? But Mana Feeder Panthara, I had that sort of, somebody was questioning that, and I think it's good. I think it's probably low end of the deck. But
yeah, but it synergizes so well, right? I mean, it's a free draw, an extra draw in a control deck where you want to have lots of cards in your hand. So tap for 1, play this, draw another one. Like, that's not bad.
I almost wish it dealt damage to you when you did that and was a 2/2. That would make it so much better in this list. it would activate the Molten Giants. I wish it literally read repeat your hero power or something like that. That would be broken.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. I mean, I'm excited to play this. It looks like a lot of fun, and it feels like a good time to play it. Where, I don't know. I haven't hit platinum yet. I'm like right before it, and so this is something fun to play while laddering up, and looks like a blast. This is a good list. Do you guys have any other questions?
I don't think so. The only other flex spot I thought maybe possibly could be the Shadow Flame, but did you say you found the Shadow Flame? Because you can get that off of Zephyrus, right?
Yeah, I've found that having the Shadow Flame makes it so that I then wouldn't have to use Zephyrus for Shadow Flame, so I can use it for like Roar or Bloodlust if I need to.
Yeah,
I do often end up using, like against. I played a game against a Darkglare. I'm like 4-1 or 4-2 against Darkglare, and the one game that I lost was a game where I ended up having to Zephyrus a single giant, and then I had like 20 health, and he gave the giant. He just put like 12 damage on the board for hand. I think he had like Soulfire, Double Power, Overwhelming, and I just died. But I ended up setting up a position where he ended up setting up a position where I had to use the Zephyrus, and I don't think in most circumstances I would want to use the Zephyrus until I'm looking to win the game or immediately not lose the game. Like gotcha. I really greed that card, which is why I put Shadow Flame in like the deck building phase of the game.
Okay.
There might be something better than Shadow Flame. Like you could maybe make an argument for what's it called? Twisting Nether. It's too expensive in my opinion, and if you needed to play it, it gets counterspelled. But there's maybe an argument for that. There might be an argument for Cascading Disaster. I find that Shadow Flame makes certain matchups possible, and if you get way behind against a Secret Mage, it can clear the board. Like I've had games where I went one of the giants, it gets explosive, and then you Shadow Flame that, and it clears their board, right? So it soaks up the damage it like does two things, and it costs like less than it should, I guess is what I would say. You get the board clear, you soak up the secret, and the game pivots back to you're in control, and then you play your giant or you play your Reno, and you're back in the game. Whereas like before that, you were kind of in a position where you were in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 minions on board for the opponent. One more thing too is I considered, like I was saying, putting in and actually had a list with Cascading Disaster and Void Caller and Enhanced Dreadlord that I like threw together and then pretty immediately discarded. And I don't know if you guys think that would be like a way of building this. I mean, obviously normal Reno is like a big demon list. And I've sort of built this like a pseudo Darkglare list, as you can see. And so, I mean, obviously I have my bias. I play a lot of Darkglare. I like that build, but...
well, that was quite small of a package, right? That you had.
Yeah. You mean like with Gul'dan and the really small like amount
very small demon package, yeah.
Yeah. I find it to be too expensive with Secret Mages. That's the only thing that's holding me back from just playing like normal Reno lock. I think that would be better until like Priest, for instance. It would have a better chance against Big Priest. For one thing, you cheat out the big demons on turn 4 or 5, 6, and then they die before they have the chance to do their stuff. Maybe. Yeah. You have the control stuff. It's not even. So you have like Dark Skies for clear. I mean, maybe into some lists, even like Q Block would be better than this list, or into some metas. But I think right now it just needs to be quick. and able to control the board. Like this deck can win on turn 5, 6, 7, but you're often trying to go to 50 or close to it. You know, they can be long games and they don't feel grindy, right? Because you're like, for me anyway, I'm learning the deck as I'm playing it. Like I made adjustments throughout the day. It's different as I go from how it was even an hour before. So and this is the list that I've been playing since about 3 o'clock. I took a break for dinner and didn't play much in the later afternoon, but like around 3 o'clock, I kind of settled on this as the list that I think I like. And yeah, it sounds like you guys, as much as you can like this list, are saying that you sort of approve of the choices I've made. I don't know.
I mean, it looks good to me. I don't consider myself, an expert deck builder, but I don't see anything that it looks glaringly wrong. I think if you wanted to swap out a card or two, like say you want to fit in Cheeky Ankle Biter, you could pull the Merchant, maybe the Panthara, but like I think it's pretty good as it is. I don't see anything. I mean,
right on.
I don't know. I'd have to play with it more, but I don't see anything that looks wrong to me. I mean, sometimes when I play it against sometimes you're playing against an opponent and you're like, why did they put that card in their deck? That card doesn't go in that deck. I played against a big priest earlier today who was running Nozdormu and Mogre the Ogre. It was like, why did you put on purpose? Like, why did you put those in your deck? That's not good. Don't do that. And I don't see anything that like that sticks out to me. But I don't consider myself that much of a deck builder. Hydra or Mike, do you guys see anything?
No, but when you speak of the Mogre the Ogre Nozdormu thing, I swear that is a meme deck, and I've seen videos on it. That could have been Swaguar or somebody who's done that, and that is hilarious.
It's very funny. Yeah, it was entertaining. I'll give you that 100%. I was just,
but definitely not good.
Can win games. Has broken cards in it. Yeah.
But no, like nothing can really be said until you play. Go through a bunch of games with the deck, right? And
for sure.
Seeing what in the current meta works and what doesn't work. But as it stands, it looks fun, and I'd like to give it a shot.
Right on. Hopefully we queue into 3 big priests in a row, and we can try to figure out what goes wrong as the 4 of us and as chat, and we can we can go in and make the changes that need to happen. But
Big Priest is the tough matchup. That's the one that has me scratching my head a little bit these days, because I feel like most other decks are beatable for me. Especially as the different like Reno locks or different Warlock builds. Not even very afraid of Reno Priest anymore, but the Big Priest is tricky. I feel like you got to beat him really early, because if the game lasts too long, it's to the point where they've got like 8 different resurrect cards, and
it's actually absurd.
It's absurd. And so that's a tricky one, but
I mean, Kazakus is our only answer, right? Kazakus, Zephyrs, and the Master Spell. But Kazakus, though, you end up, having to play it early. I mean, they have palm reading, say, into play all their cards that they need to on turns 5, 6, and 7, and then you're done.
Yeah. I mean, that being said, we were talking about this a little bit before the show started, and I think it's acceptable to have a bad matchup, like to say, hey, this deck is going to struggle against Big Priest, but it does well against everything else. And that's fine. I don't know. I think it's a little bit difficult sometimes when you try to tech out a deck too much against.
Teching it would be a mistake, right? If this were like a tier 1 deck that everybody was playing, there's some things that you could do to tech against this deck, and that's maybe a problem.
Or like, what is the core, right? Because if I'm playing, say Reno Priest or something like that, like I know exactly what my core is and what my flex spots are. And so if I'm seeing a bunch of Secret Mage, like, okay, you know, I can tech in Eater of Secrets or something like that. But I don't think at the same spot, I don't know that you really have that flexibility in this deck, but I don't think it really needs it. And if
I would say like probably Garrison Commander, if anything, would come out, or Panthera. Like they're good cards that enable the giants, but you can get the Molten Giant down in metas. Like you can almost take Garrison Commander out in aggro metas because you know your Molten Giant is going to be active, right? You don't need to tap as much, or like there's ways you can manipulate it. But yeah, it's not as clean as you know, Res even, but I meant to say Reno Priest, Raza Priest is what I was trying to say, and stuttered over it. But it's not as clean as Raza Priest to like manipulate, and you don't know that like, you know, the win condition is Anduin and Spawn and Raza, and control the board until you get those. Where like with this deck, it is sort of up in the air. You can like make your own win condition, right?
Right. Very cool. Well, I think I want to try to wrap things up. We're right about the 2-hour point. So I'd like to transition so that we can play this deck on the ladder. So, Glare, thank you so much for joining us on the show this week. We really appreciate your time. It's really great talking to you. For people out there, you mentioned that you were streaming. For people out there who want to follow your content, where can they find you?
Yeah, so I'll actually, anybody in chat, I'll type in the name that I go by, and then it's just like HTTPS or whatever it is, and then twitch.tv, and the name that I go by is just GL. It's on the screen there, but for anybody who wants to see, I think I can type it in. I'm typing it in on my computer actually now. I can go into my computer and just go into you guys stream and type it in there.
It's basically Glare,
but it is just Glare with a 4 and a 3 instead of an A and an E, because those were taken. But I do play quite a bit of Dark Glare. I've been trying to learn some BGs, do some streams with friends teaching me BGs. My brother is like really, really good, and we've been talking about featuring him on my stream occasionally, showing me how to play BGs. I've been having a lot of fun with that. But I am really a Wild streamer at heart, or a Wild player anyway, and so that's a lot of what I play on my stream is Wild Hearthstone. I have a pretty full collection. It's not completely full, but I have most of the meta decks, and then I have the cards to make the decks that I want to, for the most part, or the dust to craft them. And so if you guys want to see, you know, off meta stuff that might work, like this list here, that I've put together this morning that got me to Diamond 5 and hopefully will get me to Legend tonight. I'll actually be streaming after this for a few hours anyway, if anybody wants to pop in.
Nice.
But I am on pretty much whenever I'm playing. My computer is an old Mac, so sometimes it does like lag my computer a tiny bit where it's noticeable, unfortunately, and I'm going to be getting a new computer next month. It's like not being shipped, but it's on its way, and I am gonna hopefully have a better setup where it doesn't lag to the point that I need to like not play Dark Glare kind of thing. You know, with the APM on Dark Glare, it can be tough if you have even the slightest bit of lag to try to get the turns off. You know, there's the thinking phase and then the action phase, and I can do the thinking phase pretty okay, but my computer can't handle the action phase, and so I'll often, if I'm trying to stream and play Dark Glare, end up tilting off of Dark Glare and playing like I've been playing quite a bit of Secret Mage, quite a bit of, you know, lists like this. I have a Velen OTK Res Priest that I've been messing around with. It's been really fun. It's not as good. It's not as good necessarily, I don't think, as just straight up Res Priest, because it's not as consistent. But I really like the combo with Velen, and I missed the moment, you know, whenever it was back in like 2017, 2018. I don't know when Velen was like popular, but before it was, you know, put in Wild, before it was nerfed, all that stuff. Not nerfed, but like taken out of
Hall of Famed, right?
Hall of Fame is the word. Thank you. Before it was Hall of Fame, before it was Hoft, I imagine that people had some fun with that, and I missed the boat, so I've been trying to make that work. It's a pretty sweet list. I can actually send it to you guys if you're interested after the show.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I could even post it in the chat. I don't mind sharing it.
We got a good place in the Discord. You could put that up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We
do you
have
have like a wild deck list thing or something?
Yes, for every single class.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Separated, yes. So
you guys are much more organized than I will ever be.
Yeah, no, if you want to pop into the Born to Be Wild Discord, you can definitely put that there. That's also where you can find me at, because I'm in there. Also, you can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Hydralisk_HS. So how about you, Mike? Where can people find you at?
You can find me here Friday nights. We're back, 2021. Hope everybody had a happy new year. You can find me on Twitch at MikeLowTV. And you could find me on Ladder now exclusively at 11 stars.
Nice. How about you, Nate? Where can people find you?
Yeah, the best place to find me is on Twitter at NateWolfTCG. It's NateWolfeTCG. More importantly, you can find the show and everything related at borntobewildhs.com. Again, it's borntobewildhs as in hearthstone.com. And I spent some time actually over the last day or two updating the website, getting a bunch of our older content up there that just wasn't there. And so it's pretty current as far as all the podcasts and the parody songs and the YouTube stuff. It should be all pretty current. And so if you go there, there's all of our content is there, the podcast, the songs, the videos, the deck lists. And then there's a Find Us page. So if you go to that page, there's links to the YouTube channel, there's links to the Discord and all of the other stuff. And so there's really a thriving community of wild Hearthstone enthusiasts at the Discord channel. And so I would highly encourage people to check it out. There's just a lot of fun people there to interact with. We've got lots of deck lists. And just it's a good time in general, so super cool.
Yeah, I'll definitely be posting that list and checking out some of the deck lists that people have posted in there. I'm super pumped to get some ideas from what people have come up with. I'm just sorry, I'm kind of on a different note, but I'm looking at the Discord right now, and it looks super organized and super cool.
Thanks. Yes, we've got a good time there. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, awesome. Right on. So we're gonna pivot then to playing some games.
Yeah, we'll do some co-op here, and I wanted to I guess kind of wrap up the show so today is January 1st of 2021. We are now into a new year, and kind of looking back at the past year, there was a lot of bad stuff with all the COVID, but I couldn't help but think about some of the good things as well, and just wanted to reflect on that super quick. And I was just very thankful that we got this show started back in, I think it was March of 2020, and it's just been growing steadily ever since. We've had a blast hanging out with everybody, growing with the community, and just having a lot of fun. And I thought I would pass the mic over to each of you just as a real quick, hey, what bad things aside, what good things happened to you in 2020? I'll start out with you, Hydra.
Yeah, you know what? A good thing would be the very first time I got to guest on the show, and I filled in one time, and then, I got to end up staying on, and I appreciate that so much, Nate. So I thank you for that very, very much. And also now my kid thinks I'm famous. So there's that. And he tells all his friends that his dad's a famous streamer, and
that's awesome.
He's got a podcast and all that stuff. So that's all been really good. And I'm also thankful for the fact that my family is all doing quite well, and they're all healthy. It's been not an easy year for everybody, and looking forward to this next year, and hope everybody still stays safe and stays healthy. And Yeah, it's been pretty good.
Very cool. Mike, what about you?
All right, so for me, I'm very thankful that everybody in my family is safe. My kids are doing good. I was able to lock down the job at the school, so now I was able to successfully pivot from working in the food industry to the education field. So no more making omelets and burgers and fries. You know what I'm saying? Now we're working in classrooms. Remote and 6 feet apart. But whenever that comes back around, everybody gets this vaccine. I'll be positioned to be back in the school force where I want to be. So I'm thankful that I'm positioning for myself for whenever the world gets back to what it used to be, maybe. But yeah.
Hey, that's
Right on.
that's super awesome. Really happy for you. Hey, Blair, what about you? What good things happened to you in the past year?
So my grandma was actually in the hospital pretty recently with what we think was COVID. She had a positive and a negative test, not the one that I'm living with currently, which was even harder. I found out about it the day after she was hospitalized, right? She's okay now. She's back to normal, and she had a stroke while she was in the hospital.
Ooh, yikes.
So she's back to normal from that, too, and I'm just really grateful that I still have her in my life. I still have all four of my grandparents, which is crazy being 25 and they're 70s, 80s, 90s at this point, and they're all still here. So I'm just grateful for that, and that life has been good to me this year, even as it's been so hard for so many people.
Right on.
Very cool. All right, you guys. Wiser words were never spoken. You heard that on Born to Be Wild.